Sometimes it takes the silence of loss to finally hear the whisper of purpose. The most powerful transitions in your life won't come with an announcement. They come in the stillness, in the aching quiet after something you cared about has vanished. There's a moment, maybe you felt it, where you're staring at the pieces of what used to be, and deep inside, a quiet voice says, "This isn't the end." You don't know why it fell apart. You only know you can't go back. And though it's dark, though you're unsure, something in you knows this is the beginning of something deeper, something real. You're not cursed. You're not forgotten. You're being carved into the vessel that can hold the blessing. Before we begin this sacred unraveling, I gently invite you to reflect and share your own journey in the comments below. Your story might be the bridge someone else needs to cross tonight. If a name or a face comes to mind as you listen, send this message their way. It may be divine timing. And if you feel called to support these messages reaching more souls, you'll find donation details in the comments section. Every little bit, every drop of light, helps us illuminate the path for others. Welcome. This message is not for everyone. It's for the ones who have felt the fire, the ones who lost things they thought were permanent, the ones who have sat in silence with a heart too heavy to explain. This is for you, the ones who were broken not because of punishment, but because you were being reassembled for something greater. Wealth isn't just money. It's alignment. It's peace. It's a life where your soul finally feels at home. And before you receive that kind of wealth, you're tested, stripped, refined, prepared. Sign 1. The sudden disappearance of what once felt permanent. You didn't plan for it. You didn't see it coming. It felt like a door slammed shut in a house you thought would shelter you forever. It could have been a relationship that unraveled without reason, a dream that vanished in smoke, a job that dissolved when you needed it most, a place, a person, a role, gone. At first, it doesn't feel like a sign. It feels like punishment, like abandonment. But chosen ones don't walk easy roads. Your calling doesn't allow you to stay comfortable for long. So when the divine needs to shift your life, it starts by removing the illusion of safety. And the removal isn't subtle, because you wouldn't have let go willingly. You see, you had grown familiar with the very thing that was keeping you small. You had learned how to survive in a space you were never meant to stay in. So, it was taken. Not to harm you, but to release you. Because the blessing coming your way is too big to fit in your old life. This kind of wealth can't rest in the same room as fear. It can't live in false comfort. The loss wasn't rejection. It was redirection. The disappearance wasn't destruction. It was destiny intervening. And one day, you'll thank the loss for clearing the space. Sign 2. The deep inner urge to let go of what no longer aligns. Even before things fall apart, sometimes your soul starts whispering. At first, it's subtle. A discomfort in places you used to love. A resistance to conversations you used to enjoy. You start noticing how drained you feel after spending time with certain people, how empty your routines feel even when everything looks fine on the surface. That's your spirit speaking. That's your inner being saying, "You've outgrown this." It's one of the first spiritual signs that your current chapter is ending. Not because it failed, but because you've absorbed everything it had to teach you. And here's where many get stuck. They think the absence of chaos means they're in the right place. But for the chosen one, boredom is a signal too. The soul cannot stay where it is no longer expanding. So you begin to let go. Not in anger, but in surrender. You distance yourself from noise. You stop entertaining what feels forced. You stop justifying staying where you don't belong. And people might not understand. You might even doubt yourself. But something in you just knows. You're not who you used to be. That urge to let go is divine intelligence. It's the soul making room. You're preparing not just for more, but for better. Better connections. Better peace. better alignment. A version of wealth that isn't loud or flashy, but steady, real, free. And that freedom, that deep peace rising within you, that's the soil in which your blessings will grow. You are not being emptied to be punished. You are being cleared to be trusted. There comes a time when everything slows down around you. Conversations thin out. Invitations disappear. The phone barely rings, and the ones who used to check in no longer do. You wake up one morning and realize you're alone. But this isn't ordinary loneliness. It's sacred separation. The chosen ones always go through it. Not because you did anything wrong, but because what's being birthed inside you requires silence. The kind of silence that hurts at first, but then heals. You see, God removes the noise when He wants you to hear Him clearly. He allows isolation so you can finally sit with your own soul without interruption. It's not punishment, it's preparation. When you're meant to carry great wealth, not just financially, but spiritually, you must first become someone who doesn't rely on the world to validate you. So you are pulled back, into yourself, into the secret places of your heart that you had ignored for too long. And there, in the silence, a new you begins to take form. You start to realize you were never really alone. You were being hidden, shielded, wrapped in divine protection. Because what's coming for you will demand clarity, humility, and deep trust. And only solitude can teach you that. In the isolation, you don't just hear God. You remember who you are. Sign 4. A restlessness that doesn't go away. Even on calm days, there's a stirring. Even when things are fine, there's something in you that won't let you settle. It's like a fire inside you that keeps waking up, whispering that you're meant for more. You try to silence it. You try to be grateful. You try to tell yourself that where you are is enough. But the whisper doesn't stop. It's not greed. It's not ego. It's destiny. Because chosen ones were not sent here to blend in. You weren't born to simply exist in the background of your own life. You were made to expand, and your soul knows it. That restlessness is a signal. It's your divine navigation system alerting you that you've stayed too small for too long. You don't fit where you are anymore. Even if everything looks okay on paper, something inside you aches. Not because you're broken, but because your spirit is evolving. And that evolution is messy. It pulls you toward unknown roads, new cities, deeper conversations, riskier decisions. You crave meaning. You want truth. You want to live, not just survive. This is the sign you've entered the prelude to wealth, because only those who are dissatisfied with illusions go seeking real treasure. The kind of wealth meant for you is rooted in authenticity, in courage. And before it can arrive, your soul has to become discontent with anything less than your true purpose. So if you've been feeling that quiet fire rising, if the thought of settling makes you uneasy, you're not crazy. You're waking up. Your restlessness is a divine nudge, a sacred discomfort, and it will lead you exactly where you're meant to go. Sign 5. You were forced into isolation so you could hear what noise was drowning out. There comes a moment in every chosen one's life when the silence becomes so loud it can no longer be ignored. It may come suddenly, a betrayal, a move, a collapse, a season of confusion, or it may come slowly, a drifting away from people, from comfort, from everything that once gave you a sense of self. And at first, you may resist it. You may panic. You may call it a loss. You may call it a punishment. But the truth is, this was the divine setup. You were pulled away from the crowd, not because you weren't loved, but because you were being tuned to a frequency they could not hear. God had to separate you, isolate you, peel away the noise of your past so that you could finally hear what was underneath, your calling. Isolation isn't loneliness when you understand it's sacred. It's not a desert, it's a womb. It's not exile, it's elevation in disguise. And in that space where no one claps, No one texts, no one checks on you. God does. Because it's in the silence where He speaks the loudest. You had to walk through that quiet season so your roots could grow deep, so your intuition could be fine-tuned, so your wisdom could stretch its wings, so you would stop depending on the approval of the crowd and start remembering the voice within. Many will never understand this part of the journey. They will say you changed. They will say you disappeared. They won't know that you were becoming, that you were preparing, that you were finally being emptied, not to be forgotten, but to be filled. When the crowd left, the Creator entered. And that's the shift that prepared you for the kind of wealth that no thief can steal. Wealth of wisdom, clarity, inner peace, and divine guidance. Only the chosen are strong enough to endure that kind of silence, and still walk forward in faith. And now, what's coming? It will make the isolation worth it. Not because of what you'll gain, but because of who you've become in the absence of applause. Sign 6. You lost material so you could gain mastery. This one hurts to admit, but it's one of the most powerful signs of divine preparation. You were stripped of material comforts. The job ended. The home was lost. The bank account dried up. The things you once clung to vanished. And at first it felt cruel. But it wasn't. It was refinement. It was the sacred detox. Because God knew that if He gave you abundance without first teaching you alignment, the wealth would bury you instead of build you. So you were taken through the fire, not to destroy you, but to purify you. To teach you how to move with discipline. To recognize fake from real. To manage little so you could someday manage much. To understand the value of things, not by their price, but by their purpose. This sign often goes unnoticed because it feels so personal. It's easy to believe you made a mistake. It's easy to blame yourself. But the truth is, it wasn't punishment. It was preparation. You were being taught the language of value, not in dollars, but in decisions. You learned how to stretch, how to trust, how to innovate, how to move with faith, not fear. And now, as you rise again, you're not the same. You're more aware, more grateful, more powerful, because what you lost in the material world, you gained in spiritual mastery. And when wealth comes, and it will, you won't misuse it. You'll multiply it, because you've been trained by scarcity to honor the abundance that's ahead. These signs may have looked like endings, but they were sacred entrances, gateways. They were pointing you toward your next level, the one where wealth doesn't just arrive, it stays. Not because you chased it, but because you became someone worthy of carrying it. Now, there is just one final sign, the most mysterious of them all. And once you see it, you'll never look at your losses the same way again. Sign 7. A knowing you can't explain, but can't ignore. It's not loud. It's not logical. And yet it's more real than anything you've ever known. It's that quiet, sacred knowing in your spirit. The kind that lives in your bones and breathes in your heartbeat. The knowing that says, you were meant for more. Even when the world calls you crazy. Even when your bank account doesn't reflect it. Even when the people around you don't see it, you know. It doesn't come from books. It doesn't come from mentors. It comes from deep within. Planted by the hand of God before you even arrived on this earth. You don't have to force it. It whispers through your doubts. It shines through your broken places. It rises, even when everything else falls. This is the final sign, the hidden mark of the chosen. Not something that can be taught, only remembered. A spiritual fingerprint that tells heaven who you are, even when the world forgets your name. You've always known you're different. You've always felt the pull. And that inner knowing was never pride. It was prophecy. It's the divine reminder that what you lost wasn't meant to punish you, but position you. It was clearing the soil, making room, preparing the stage for something eternal, something wealthy in the eyes of heaven, the kind that spills into every part of your life. That knowing? It's not wishful thinking. It's not delusion. It's your spirit remembering what your eyes haven't yet seen. And everything that felt like loss was simply leading you back to it. So don't fight the knowing. Don't numb it. Don't run from it. Honor it. Because it's God's signature written across your life, and it's pointing straight toward your breakthrough. And now that you've seen the signs, now that the truth has reached your soul, you know, you were never losing. You were being aligned. And the wealth that's coming, it's not random. It's response. A sacred echo of everything you survived. A divine reward for how you stayed faithful even in the dark. And when it arrives, it will not just change your life. It will confirm everything you already knew. Let this message sit deep within your soul. And if you feel led, you can give back by checking the comments for donation details. Every bit helps fuel this mission and message. But most importantly, walk forward with confidence. Because what's ahead for you? It's bigger than you imagined. And it's already yours.